If you are easily triggered, you should know that I am a white, heterosexual, cisgender Christian male.
Look at that. Holy smokes, man.
The greatest adventure ever in human history. It'd be so exciting to wake up in the morning and think that that's what's happening.
It's official, ladies and gentlemen. Elon Musk has purchased Twitter. He's literally putting his money where his mouth is. He put up $21 billion of his own money while securing the rest with financing to, as he says it, turn Twitter into a bastion of free speech. Now, I don't necessarily trust billionaire oligarchs or think that Elon Musk is going to be the savior of free speech online moving forward, but having said that, I have no problem with the amount of money he has amassed for himself and the fact that he wants to privatize this, as he called it, public town square. So we're going to talk about that, guys, and a whole lot more. So let's just jump right into this one. Elon Musk buys Twitter for $44 billion and will privatize the company. Elon Musk reached an agreement to buy Twitter for roughly $44 billion on Monday, promising a more lenient touch to policing content on social media platform where he, the world's richest person, promotes his interests, attacks critics, and opines on a wide range of issues to more than 83 million followers. The outspoken Tesla CEO has said he wanted to own and privatize Twitter because he thinks it's not living up to its potential as a platform for free speech. And what's not to agree with that? It clearly has not been, and I think privatizing things moving forward is the way to go. And yet again, this is another time where it proves that capitalism is far superior to socialism, and it's going to completely smash it and crush it every single time, ladies and gentlemen. And in fact, I think a lot of people agree with me, and they see it just as that. Here's a poll on Twitter that I think backfired for this user. She asks, which is a better use of Elon Musk's $43 billion? Ending world hunger or buying Twitter? And the final results show that 88% of the people agree that, yeah, his money is going to be better spent buying Twitter than so-called ending hunger. Because look, if you want to look at the issue of ending world hunger, it's a heck of a lot, going to take a heck of a lot more than just giving everybody in the world money. You need to hack at the root of the problem, which is fiat lending, the bank's ability to create and print money out of thin air. Until you change that fundamentally flawed system, you're never going to end world hunger by just giving people free money. It never works. And I'm glad to see the results of that poll, you know, which shows that people have a pretty good grasp on that. So here it is, guys. This is what Musk is basing pretty much everything on. It says here, free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. And I think that's a really good point, to be honest. Matters that are vital to the future of humanity are debated. And of course, you know, what kind, there's so many examples, you know, what it is to be a woman. Can a man become a woman? These are the types of debates and discussions that will shape the future of this world that are important to have moving forward. So I'd have to agree with them, you know, with that. In fact, I went on to Twitter already and I said, you know, let's take this for a test spin. The definition of a woman is adult female human being. Now, I know changes probably haven't been made already, but we'll see how that one goes. Continuing, he said he wants to make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust. That obviously, I think, has some of the major tech conglomerates shaking in their boots right now. The fact that he would open up the algorithm to show exactly how they do their censorship, would essentially also end shadow banning, because it would be clear for everyone to see there how exactly that works. So, and you know, speaking of shadow banning, I figured I'd put it out there to Elon Musk as well. Hey, you know, if while you're at this, maybe you could unsuspend the Press for Truth Twitter accounts. You know, that'd be greatly appreciated if you could do that. So let's continue. He says he wants to make the algorithms open source to increase trust. He wants to defeat the spam bots. Now, obviously, this is a real issue, but I don't think people understand the extent to which this issue stretches into the tentacles of how we live our daily lives, because most people are probably just thinking he's talking about cryptocurrency scams and Twitter bots of that nature, but it gets far, far, far deeper than that. Ladies and gentlemen, these Twitter bots have been used, for example, to create conspiracies in an effort to discredit legitimate conspiracies. For example, I put this one out a while ago, the coronavirus 5G PSYOP exposed, live with Press for Truth. And in that video, I'm explaining that this whole idea that 5G causes the coronavirus was a conspiracy hatched by the powers that ought not to be, and it was Twitter bots that put that information out there, and then news outlets started picking up on this idea, and then crazy people started joining in on it and burning down 5G towers thinking it's actually legit. It was all launched by a campaign by the secret intelligence communities who want to discredit anybody who speaks negatively about 5G technology, as you can now just say, oh yeah, you're probably one of those guys who thinks 5G causes coronavirus. Completely made up conspiracy designed to distract people from the truth that there are issues with 5G. But now when you talk about that, it can be easily discredited because of this Twitter bot problem. So it should be interesting to see where things are going to go with that. He says he wants to defeat the spam bots, and then finally he ends it with saying authenticating all humans. Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the communities in unlocking that. Well, at first that sounds pretty good, you know. I want to be authenticated. I think most people are thinking, you know, I want that blue check mark. I know that it's actually me operating my Twitter account. Why don't I get the coveted blue check mark, you know? And that's how people are going to be enticed into this thing, but really it's just tying you to the digital ID, tying yourself probably eventually biometrically, knowing Elon Musk and his ideas of planting chips into the brain, to eventually tie you to that digital ID system. So again, like I said in the beginning, I don't trust these billionaire oligarchs who really have this much power, but this is a nuanced discussion. There's all sorts of things going on here with Elon Musk, and again, it's worthy of debate. So the fact that he says I look forward to working with the company to unlock that potential kind of has me a little bit worried about what might be going on there. As I said earlier, I forgot to point out here that my Twitter account has been suspended. I put this out a while back. The attacks continue with Press for Truth, now suspended on Twitter in the latest tech war mega strike. Press for Truth has been under a relentless attack from Silicon Valley, major tech conglomerates, and a group of social justice warriors who claim to be anti-hate, who are minions, who are making cancel culture a reality. The latest attack against PFT came from Twitter, as they have just suspended the PFT Twitter account that had well over 20,000 followers just days before an election here in BC, and just less than 2 weeks away from the US presidential selection. In this video, Dan Dicks of Press for Truth dives deep into how PFT is being censored, who is involved, and most importantly, what you can do to help. And like I said, guys, I don't think that Elon Musk is going to be the true savior of free speech online. And but it is interesting to see how many people have a problem with the capitalism side of this. I mean, I kept seeing these tweets going viral saying like, man, with $43 billion, you know, he could have given every single person on the planet $1 million and still had X number left over, or he could have given every American $1 million and still had $7 billion left over, and it's just ridiculous. So I felt I would chime in and get in on the viral tweets with this one. With $43 billion, Elon Musk could have given me like tree fitty and still had $43 billion left over. Why aren't more people talking about this? But again, it's just to point to the lunacy of it all. And indeed, it is crazy. You know, people are really losing it over this right now. The vile left that has really turned Twitter into a cesspool are enraged at the idea that they're not going to be able to continue censoring the internet, and that voices like Donald Trump and Alex Jones and you know, like the whole lot of them you saw in that beginning clip are going to be given a platform to speak their mind is terrifying to them. So some of them are apparently starting to exit the platform and delete their Twitter accounts, and obviously that's well welcomed. Get a load of this. This is from The Independent. How to delete your Twitter account. Twitter's decision to sell the company to Elon Musk for $44 billion has left some users seriously considering their future on the social media platform. With Mr. Musk promising to defend free speech, it puts in quotes, and the prospect of banned right-wing figures such as Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene are potentially being welcomed back, critics are deleting their accounts. And it actually goes into a bit of a paywall on my phone here. So, but you get the gist of it. They're starting to delete their accounts, which here's the weird kind of thing about all this right now is, for the longest time, those of us who have been true supporters of free speech and who understand how the Silicon Valley tech conglomerates are manipulating us and controlling us through social media, have been saying for a long time it's a good idea to get off Facebook, you know, delete your Twitter. And this is a campaign that, you know, I think is something that still should be focused on. But now a lot of the people on the so-called right are going to feel that this is a place to move towards as a bastion of free speech, where, you know, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. As I said, I don't trust Elon Musk necessarily, but this is something that needed to happen to Twitter at the same time. Now, I wanted to, I guess, leave you today with just a little ditty I wrote, because you may or may not know James Corbett. He's a good friend of mine, a fellow Canadian reporter. He is not on Facebook, he's not on Twitter, and he not long ago deleted his Twitter account. And you know, I was inspired by that. Admittedly, I know I should be deleting my Facebook and my Twitter account too. I'm really want to pull the trigger, but again, admittedly, I see the potential to bringing the awareness of what I do at Press for Truth to the masses who need to hear it the most through that platform. Yet at the same time, James seems to be doing just fine without Twitter. So it's really something to consider heavily for somebody in my position, but for somebody in everybody's position, because let's face it, if it does become less censored and we are able to engage in these ideas a little more freely, there's going to be a lot of offended people, there's going to be a lot of hateful things being slung around, and it's not going to be fun. You know, so Twitter, I think, it's a good thing today, but it's still going to devolve into a cesspool of just angry arguments. But at the same time, you know, debate is necessary, as he said, for, you know, futures that are vital to humanity moving forward, ideas that are vital to humanity. So just wanted to bring all this to your attention, guys, and I'll leave you with a song that I wrote and performed and sang a little while back when I was inspired by my friend James Corbett, who quit Twitter. Before we do, I'd ask that you check me out at pressfortruth.ca/donate. If you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information, there you can do a one-time donation with PayPal, you can do Bitcoin, you can do other cryptocurrencies, you can join me on Subscribestar. This is a great way to sign up for a monthly recurring contribution. You can do that directly here on my website as well. We also accept e-transfers, you can send that to dan@pressfortruth.ca. Or if you like to keep things old school, you can send cash or checks or equipment, or simply just words of encouragement to my P.O. box, guys. Links for all of that are located in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who has contributed to my efforts over the years to bring you this information that you're not exactly getting from the mainstream. So thank you once again. Please click that thumbs up button, share this video, and here's a little ditty I wrote called James Corbett is Not on Twitter.
James Corbett is not on Twitter. You won't find him on Facebook either. I'd like to see you try and censor that which isn't even there. James Corbett is not on Twitter. You won't find him on Facebook either. Jack Dorsey and Zuckerberg, your time has come. The press has won. James Corbett is not on Twitter. You won't find him on Facebook either. I'd like to see you try and censor that which isn't even there. The Corbett Report is not on Twitter. You won't find him on Facebook either. Jack Dorsey and Zuckerberg, your time has come. The press has won.
Why am I on Twitter? Why am I on Twitter? It's graffiti on the bathroom wall that millions of people can read. So why on earth am I on Twitter? No more. No more. Not for me. But I'm sure you will survive without me. Hey, why not? Maybe you can even join me by exiting Twitter. Delete Twitter. So, that's going to do it for this week. I am your host, James Corbett, CorbettReport.com. Looking forward to talking to you again very shortly.
I'd like to see you try and censor that which